based on your experience, how often do you alter your strategy? What exactly it is that influences what strategy you take at particular points in time?
You can have a strategy, but then you have a fallback plan if the strategy doesn't work. As a good strategy should be informed by resources and should be informed also by the capacity and the capability you have.
Why did you start? Because sometimes you always see, yeah, you have a big farm, you have a big company.
Yeah.
You told me you have a team of around now 150 people,
Yes,
but I believe
yes.
it didn't start that way.
We started from River Road. Dark, dingy,
River Road?
yeah, dark, dingy, dirty office. You know those offices, when you climb upstairs, you have to use like a small torch to be able to see upstairs.
Good evening and welcome to the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and as always, we have a very interesting show lined up. And today it's no different. But before I get to introduce my guest, I want to remind you that you're here at the Capital Club, the place you need to be as an entrepreneur. Because being a member of the Capital Club, you have access to a wide array of amenities. Where we're filming this is just one of the meeting rooms. There's a what's it called? There's a spa. There's the gym. There's actually an events area. There's so much you can actually be able to do here as an entrepreneur. Also, I want to remind you that two of my books, one Food for Thought and the other Business Conquest, are actually out at the Textbook Center. The guest I'm actually speaking about and about to have a very interesting conversation with is none other than Mr. Ronald Bwosi, CPA. You know, when you do a CPA, you have to say it. He's the Group Managing Director of Ronald's LLP. Karibu Sana, welcome back. Welcome to the show. It's nice to see you. It's been quite a while.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure to see you.
Yeah.
After such a long time.
It's been a while.
Yes,
we need to catch up.
Yeah.
So to start off the conversation, there's a quote I have. It's vision challenges present circumstances and environments. So a compelling vision motivates individuals to overcome current challenges and environments, driving them towards a future ideal for them. Primarily, how does this particular quote speak to you, having been one who has actually been able to build a vision through Ronald's LLP?
Yeah, that's quite very powerful because for any entrepreneur to thrive and overcome entrepreneurial challenges, need to have a great vision because vision is about a perspective about the future. And personally, the driving force, what helps me to overcome daily challenges in this journey of entrepreneurship is a compelling vision. Because the vision of actually ensuring that there is a strong professional service firm that can help African entrepreneurs to scale their business, to grow, to be able to professionalize and be more sustainable is a compelling vision that has driven my agenda in the business. And that's what's given me the fuel behind everything that we do each and every day. Yeah, and I agree with you that a strong vision is what every entrepreneur needs in order to be outstanding and in order to overcome the entrepreneurial challenges.
Based on your experience, having been in business for over a decade and having seen a startup become, one of the competing, professional entities in the country, how have you been consistent in terms of building this vision? How have you managed to ensure that you've always had your eyes set on the vision that you hold?
The eyes. So one of the things is, it's one thing to have a vision, but it's another to know the right path that will help you to achieve the vision. So for me, it's not been a straight line to be able to achieve the vision, even up to where we are. Even though we've not fully realized our vision, but we are on the way there. But the thing is, every time you have a vision, you have a strategy. So a vision is informed by the strategy that actually will be able to get you there. A vision without a strategy is just daydreaming. So a strong vision is supported, is anchored on a strong strategy, and of course also is now also supported with a strong purpose. Because there's a vision, there's a purpose, and there's a strategy. So, but then the strategy is what is on paper, but as you continue to execute strategy, each and every day, there is a lot of unfolding things that make you realize that strategy cannot be a one strategy. You have to completely keep on altering it, changing it, so that you'll be able to realize your vision. Because when you have a business idea, it's on paper. The ground always gives you...
grounded difference.
it gives you a feedback that you realize my vision was not as... my strategy is not good as enough, so you keep on altering that. And for me, it has been experiential. It's been a very interesting journey, just trying to... from the time we started in 2010, trying to configure the strategies, trying to change courses, trying to learn a lot from our clients, from the team, the staff members, from our stakeholders, and tweak the strategy to help us realize this vision. So what I say, it's a learning experience. In fact, business is like a school. Entrepreneurship,
it's like school,
yeah, it's a school which you learn so much than you learned in school. Yeah.
And in terms of strategy, because every business you must have a strategy.
Yeah.
Based on your experience, how often do you alter your strategy? What exactly it is that influences what strategy you take at particular points in time? And is it okay to have even different strategies at the same time?
Yeah, you can have a strategy, but then you have a fallback plan if the strategy doesn't work. So the most critical thing to understand in terms of the effectiveness of a strategy, because you have a vision, and then you have a purpose of what you want to, why you want to achieve the vision, and then you have a strategies. So the most effective strategy are informed by the resources. Do you have the resources to execute the strategy? And for instance, if you are in a very highly competitive market and you have maybe few dominant players, you cannot compete with the few dominant players if you are a startup, because the dominant players have resources.
True.
So most often you will be looking for a strategy that helps you to what you can do easy than the dominant and large players.
True.
Especially in our space. In our space, we have firms that are quite huge. They have resources, they are global in nature, they have funding behind it. Others have private equity, others have a lot of capital contributions from partners, and they've been there for a long time. So sometimes to be relevant in that particular industry, you cannot copy and paste what they are doing because you don't have the resources. You need an alternative strategy to see what can you do seamlessly that that kind of large entities cannot do. And you realize that is the beauty about startups, because startups are nimble, they can be agile, they can be very adaptive and responsive to their customers as compared to
the big
large entities. So as a good strategy should be informed by resources and should be informed also by the capacity and the capability you have. It's also what kind of people do you have. You cannot be dreaming of doing very big assignments, engagements, if you don't have the people resources. So resources in terms of capital, in terms of people, in terms of infrastructure are very critical when you are developing an effective strategy to help you realize the vision that you have.
In starting off Ronald's LLP, what exactly informed you? What exactly was the driving force behind the business? Yeah,
thank you. One of the things that drove me to start the firm is what I normally call the uncontested market. I realized that there's a number of local indigenous entrepreneurs that are very brilliant in whatever they do. The biggest challenge we have had with a lot of African entrepreneurs is their business remain very small, micro, informal of our very long time, in spite of their resilience nature and their brilliancy in terms of entrepreneurship. So I needed to see, how do I support these entrepreneurs first to grow their businesses, and then two, these entities, you realize that they have a very short lifespan because of maybe some structural issues that they have. So I needed to support these entities to be more sustainable. And then the other issue is to support these entities to be professionalized, because the local indigenous entrepreneurs, in spite of them having a very strong entrepreneurial skills, they have a very big challenge in terms of scalability of their businesses, growth, and two, the issue of sustainability, making sure that you have a structural framework that will ensure that the business continues even in the foreseeable future. And then number three is the professional issues, issues to do with the processes, issues to do with having accurate accounting systems and structures, issues of drafting the strategy, issues to having proper policies that will help to make the business more sustainable, and the business can be passed from one generation to another, because it's just not an informal business. And these are the things that drove us to start the company, to support these particular entrepreneurs. And of course, the other driving force, if you look at across African continent, there hasn't been any firm that can be able to support companies to scale across the African continent in terms of compliance, in terms of incorporation, in terms of strategy. And so we started the firm to try to support local entrepreneurs to professionalize, to grow their business, to be more sustainable, and even to expand their business across the African continent without a lot of drama. Yes.
Where Ronald's right now is not, I'm sure it's incomparable to where exactly you started. Maybe paint us a picture in terms of the earlier days. How exactly was it? Where did you start? Because sometimes you always see, you have a big farm, you have a big company.
Yeah.
You told me you have a team of around now 150 people,
Yes,
but I believe
yes.
it didn't start that way.
Yeah.
How was the earlier years?
You know, I always say that an incredible business starts from somewhere. And we started from River Road, dark, dingy,
River Road.
Dark, dingy, dirty office. You know those offices, when you climb upstairs, you have to use like a small torch to be able to see upstairs. And
that's the strategist. With a vision for Africa.
yeah. That's where we started. And you looked at my work table when we began. It was looking like a butchery table, the one we used to cut meat. You know, and if power went, we had to go home because you couldn't see what you're doing in the office. So from that kind of humble beginning, and we actually started on the premise that we want to help the informal businesses on River Road, in Kirinyaga Road, to support them to professionalize their business. The biggest challenge we had at that kind of foundational stage, we realized that yes, these people have challenges, but the problem is they won't appreciate professional services. And this is some of the challenges that we have with the local entrepreneurs. So we kept on trying to tweak the business model and realize that we have to move now from River Road, go to Uptown. We went to in Africa House, whereby at least we could find some formal entrepreneurs. And
have some light in your office.
some light in the office. Yeah, so that's what we did. We went now to in Africa House, and we started now to attract some of the entrepreneurs in the uptown side of the city, and then now continue scaling up and move to Westlands, and that's now we started now serving the medium market. That's where we are, and also supporting the SMEs now. And we've grown in leaps and bounds from that kind of humble beginning to even now establishing our own premises and be very strong in even supporting the media market. Yeah.
And before you ventured into the business, you were in employment.
Yes.
For how long were you in employment, and how did you make this transition now from employment now into business?
Uniquely, and one of the things that I always I'm always happy about is because I didn't have the privilege of getting the best of the jobs that I see people have.
You did not get the corner office?
Yeah, I did get the corner office.
Yeah, so you had to create one for yourself.
Yes, and I didn't get like permanent employment that will actually interest me to continue being employed. And of course, I worked in Australia in the manufacturing industry as an accountant in a very manual environment where you'll have to write books and papers and ledgers and all that. And that was a quite and because you also you will work long hours and all that with the pay that you may not appreciate, and that drove me to think that there's a value I can do if I'm not employed. So I quit employment at a very young age, at an age of about 25 years. So I didn't have like that enormous experience to be able to start. So for me, the business itself has been a schooling experience rather than now providing experience to the school. But then I keep on asking people, why do you need experience? Experience in what? You only need experience if you want to replicate what other people you are doing. And it helped me because by the time I started company at a very young age, not having a lot of experience, I was like trying to exercise what I believe the market wants and get feedback and learn from it and scale up, because I had a fresh mind. And I say that I always respect people who have to leave a very big check to start business.
Oh, it's difficult.
Yours
is too small.
Yeah. So most of people ask me, so you are such a risk taker. Then I'm wondering, which risk? There was no risk anyway.
Because you quit employment quite early at 25, probably, as you mentioned, entry level, not so much experience, not so much money coming in. How did you, what gave you that courage to start maneuvering quite early to say that I can offer this solution, yet you're with lack of experience? Literally, like you're not established per se to get clients. How did you go about it?
Okay, I started at a very young age from primary school, having interest in doing business. The only thing is I didn't know which kind of business I can be able to do. When I was in primary school, up country, one of the people that I used to admire so much were shopkeepers, because I like shopkeepers because I looked at their shops. You know, they had a lot of products, bread, soda. And I wonder how can a shopkeeper have all this and is not eating? Is not eating. Yeah, because you see, when you're growing up, you know, soda and bread makes a lot of sense to you. And this inspired me. So I say, when I grow up, I also want to be a businessman. And I remember during our class 6 session in terms of business, our business education class, one of our teachers walked us into a nearby shop and really praised the shopkeeper. And I know the shopkeeper was a guy who had dropped out of school. So I said, when I grow up, I want to be a business guy, so that even teachers will come and praise me of the work I'm doing. So that really inspired my entrepreneurial journey. So by the time I got out of school, finished my college and finished my education, I realized that I want to do business. So even when I got employment, I was thinking, how do I establish myself as an entrepreneur? And of course, even when I left school, I tried it a bit. I tried to sell bread. I trying to vend bread and muffins and cookies, and got interested in the business of just trying to create money without necessarily tied to a paid check. So that really helped me to establish my entrepreneurial
Were any
journey.
of your parents entrepreneurs?
In my parents?
Yeah.
No, my parents were not entrepreneurs. Significant. My mother was does farming at home there, but just mostly subsistence farming. And my dad was always employed. So none of them are entrepreneurs. Yeah.
And
but in my family, we have some incredible entrepreneurs. My brother is a great and effective entrepreneur. So they have that kind of entrepreneurial, DNA.
Interesting. And so here you are, 25, you've decided, because the industrial area is stuck here anymore, because there's no money making it, and then you're making this transition now into setting up Ronald's LLP. You started out in River Road. What's it called? How did you, because you said you're not getting paid much, how are you paying rent? How did you survive the earlier years?
Yeah, one of the things that you do when you're starting a business, and some of the things that I did, and I looked at it and say, wow, how did I even survive that? Is first aligning your cost. The good thing is I didn't have a lot of expenses. I didn't have a family, so it was very easy. I first moved from my house, moved to a very small bed-sitter house that I was just paying 5,000 shillings per month. So I really cut my cost down so that it could help me to move even when I'm not making so much from the business. So that's I did a lot of adjustment in my lifestyle. And of course, I had learned not to spend so much. So I was very...
How much is the office in River Road?
That office we were paying like around 4,000 shillings. Yeah, per month. Yeah, 4,000 shillings per month.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it was quite affordable. Yeah, so you can imagine you're just paying 4,000. My house, by bed-sitter, was paying 5,000. So it was just fair. So I say, what is the worst that can happen? Because even if I fail, I can still go and look for something that I can do. So, but I say, before I fail, let me just try. So I was just trying to experiment to understand how business is. So when I did that experiment, it was interesting, coming up nicely, but I wasn't making so much money. So I said, let me try to improve it before I give up. So I went to Africa House and got some 2, 3, 4 clients that completely changed the game plan because they came, give me the money that I needed, some of the customers, and that's what gave me the motivation to keep on pushing.
And how did you face that starting period? Because I know one can be discouraged in the sense that I'm starting this, you're starting at an office in River Road, you have this big dream. How did you maneuver, this starting off period? Because primarily you have a big vision but small pocket and not seeing the day of light. How did you maneuver this difficult period that I know most entrepreneurs probably watching this are in that phase whereby you can't see the light, but you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel?
That happens. Entrepreneurs, you go through so much discouragement. At one time, after pushing for 3 months, not having a reasonable client paying, it was very discouraging. I almost say, you know what, I went to school. I can now redo my CV and start sending applications. But I remember I met one of my friends and I say, you know what, Ronald, you have to appear. And of course, by that kind of discouragement will make me sometimes appear to the office late, not even prepared for work. I was getting so lazy each and every day because you're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And I remember I met one of my friends who challenged me, you know what, you have to actually make each and every day a success. And actually changed my mind. Started appearing in the office very early. At 8, even no business. But I will go through the telephone directory with one of my friends, get phone book, call so many people asking for business opportunities and all that. And it just happens that after one time I woke up and one of the clients had called and they told me they don't have any work for us. Just come and say, Ronald, you had called earlier and you said you do this, and say, yeah, I do that. And they called us into the office and gave us a business. And I had never seen that lot of money. I think we made income that will cover for all my expenses for the next 2 years. And the job, we just did it in a month. That is what spoiled me.
How did it spoil you?
It spoiled me because after that I said, I will never ever because I will never go back to say, now I'm looking for employment, because this money can now sustain me for the next a number of months. So before it gets finished, I will have to get other businesses that I can build on. So I started pushing in order to get new clients, and recruited a secretary, got an office space, the desk, increased the number of desks, got some laptops, bought myself some new suits. And then I got a lot of courage, and now talking about the company with a lot of confidence. Because sometimes the missing link is just the courage. And
money brings a lot of courage.
And I realized that when you have some money in the bank, you can be so courageous. You can be so courageous. So I pushed. And within no time now, we started getting new clients. We built on, we expanded the business. We got small, big clients. And eventually we were out of the woods. That is what happened.
And you got the first client when still in River Road, or when you moved?
In River Road, we used to have some small clients. They were saying, in River Road, I worked for so many clients on River Road, on Kirinyaga Road, on Tomboya Street. The problem with those clients, they will not pay. They will not pay. And you know, I was thinking like Napoleon. I had big dreams because I had counted all the shops in River Road, in River Road, on Tomboya Street, on Kirinyaga Road, and I was saying, if I just got 1,000 of these shops, because I could see there were thousands and thousands of shops. So my calculation, if I got 1,000, it's paying me 10,000. I will be very rich. The problem is they were not even willing to pay even 5,000. Even now with the services you offer, it comes the end man, they say, you know what? We rather buy stock than pay for services.
No, it's true.
So that is a tragedy when you are serving micro entities.
Interesting.
The value they put, especially in the African continent, people don't put a lot of value on professional services.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going to end it at this particular point in time. Quite an interesting journey. And then so we're going to close part 1 here, and then we're going to come back with part 2 of the story. But as you've seen, just an interesting story of a company that started out in River Road, getting to a point where at least they've gotten so much money. So in part 2, we're going to find out how exactly has Ronald LLP grown up to actually compete with the quote-unquote Big Four. So I'll see you next week on The Late Night Business.